This man standing behind Mzee Kenyatta is Wanyoike Thung'u, ex-presidential bodyguard and a man whose pictures are rare to find anywhere. Wanyoike Thung'u was not a trained police officer, but he is still the most feared presidential bodyguard in the history of Kenya. Wanyoike Thung'u was Mzee Jomo Kenyatta's head bodyguard, and he was described by many as Kenya's most dangerous killer in the 1960s and 1970s. Known for shooting hundreds when Mzee Jomo Kenyatta fell out with Jaramogi Oginga Odinga in Kisumu in 1969 and beating up a minister and his wife, Thung'u is one of those men who got away with heinous abuse of power. He shot tens of people indiscriminately in Kisumu after an angry audience responded to Jomo Kenyatta's insults by throwing stones at him. As the president's motorcade left Kisumu, Wanyoike and his squad of bodyguards continued shooting at roadside bystanders, even as far as Ahero. His most notable work, however, is the torture and murder of JM Kariuki in 1975, March 2nd. This man's story started in the mid-1940s when Mzee Jomo Kenyatta returned from London. Thung'u had been born in Ishaweri, Gatundu, where Kenyatta settled on his return in 1946. With little education and more brawn than brain, Wanyoike Thung'u worked in the youth wing of the Kenya Africa Union, KAU, which Kenyatta led. Due to his diligence and ability to follow orders of any kind, Kenyatta found Thung'u and others to be of importance in the security operations of the party. When Kenyatta took over Kenyan leadership in 1963, some untrained former KAU militias like Wanyoike Thung'u were conscripted into the presidential guard on Jomo Kenyatta's orders. Their inclusion into such a high-profile security detail raised questions amongst the top security chiefs, but none dared question Jomo Kenyatta's choices. Throughout the 60s, Thung'u and his pseudo-military associates carried out all sorts of dirty assignments for President Jomo Kenyatta and his inner circle. By the time Kenyatta was president, these men lacked the education and age qualifications to be formally trained as presidential guard in Israel and Britain like other members of that guard. To compensate, Kenyatta had them secretly trained on gun handling in the Czech Republic in Europe. Trouble started when Thung'u's squad of mercenaries started killing people in public over small disagreements. When one of them shot a patron in a Gatundu bar because they both wanted the same prostitute, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta finally agreed to disband his unofficial guard. He did this on one condition only. He wanted Wanyoike Thung'u to remain as his senior-most presidential bodyguard. Thung'u had earned Mzee Jomo Kenyatta's trust not only because he came from Mzee's home village, but also due to his blind willingness to follow orders. Thung'u was made the head of Jomo Kenyatta's security detail, giving orders to much better trained officers than him. His first major display of violence was against one of President Kenyatta's biggest critics after independence, Government Minister Bildad Kagia. Kagia had been locked away in Kapenguria with Jomo Kenyatta and four others, popularly known as the Kapenguria Six, but he and the president disagreed on the issue of redistribution of land after independence. Bildad Kagia agreed with the politics of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, first vice president. Wanyoike Thung'u paid the minister and his wife a visit one day as a surprise at the height of Kagia's opposition to Kenyatta. Accompanied by men armed with rungus and machetes, Thung'u attacked Kagia and his wife and everybody else present, beating them senselessly to the point of both getting admitted in a hospital. In a different instance, a mentally disturbed man rushed for Jomo Kenyatta's arrest seat at a Nakuru function, and Thung'u was said to have shot the madman dead without second thought. After Tom Mboya's gruesome murder on Saturday of July 1969, a mystery group known as Kiambu Mafia was associated with the assassination. Amongst the men associated with this Kikuyu mafioso included Wanyoike Thung'u, Mbio Koinange, and Kenyatta's American-educated cousin, Dr. Njoroge Mungai. The group was associated with a wave of oath-taking in Mount Kenya, where young men took oaths of allegiance to the tribe, also referred to as House of Mumbi. Wanyoike Thung'u facilitated local tribal agitators from all over Mount Kenya to pay visits to President Kenyatta in Gatundu, where they swore to fight against non-Kikuyu presidencies. For his good use, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta had Wanyoike Thung'u promoted to police inspector, a rank he wore with neither of the training. A story is told that at one function when President Jomo Kenyatta was inspecting a guard of honor, he saw a police superintendent who was more decorated than his personally tailored bodyguard Wanyoike Thung'u. Immediately, Mzee had Thung'u promoted to match that higher rank. Wanyoike Thung'u immensely enjoyed his hangman role to hear his enemies and victims tell it. In 1975, he was heavily implicated in the murder of superstar politician JM Kariuki. JM Kariuki was interrogated by Wanyoike Thung'u, Ben Gethi and others at Kingsley House in Nairobi, and his body later dumped in a forest outside the city. Wanyoike is said to have knocked JM Kariuki's teeth out before killing him on account of Kariuki publicly criticizing President Kenyatta's hunger for land grabbing in the 60s. In this well-coordinated plot, Wanyoike Thung'u held meetings in Nakuru with his accomplices to plan on how they would finish off JM Kariuki. One meeting even happened at State House, Nakuru, and was arranged by Wanyoike Thung'u while Kenyatta was indisposed in Gatundu. Wanyoike Thung'u was so very used to grabbing land such that in one unverified story from Gatundu, a delegation of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta's neighbors came to ask him why he had sent Wanyoike Thung'u, a young man enough to be their sons, to steal their land. Kenyatta was infuriated with his top dog's unwarranted action and instructed that all his age mates in Ishaweri village retain their land and have none of it grabbed. Until today, Wanyoike died in 1998, a rich but heavily guilty man, having faced no consequences whatsoever for his reign of terror.